Hey babe, I'm Loretta, fashion CEO and entrepreneur, and the host of this podcast. Welcome to Babe in Business, where I share my entrepreneurial experiences with you and everything I wish I knew before I started my fashion brand. Okay, so on this episode, we're going to get into 4 questions to ask yourself, that I wish I asked myself before starting a fashion business. And I say fashion business, but with the necessary adaptation, I believe that this can be applied to other businesses alike. So these are ideal questions to ask while you're still in the business plan / conceptual phase. So before you've gone out and spent a whole lot of money and taken any actionable steps. Okay, so some of you may be thinking, oh snap, I've already started. Don't worry if this is you, because these are questions I still ask myself, even at this phase, to sort of double check and, make sure I'm on the right path with my business. So this episode is for you if 1, you'd like to start a fashion business, but you just don't know how and where to start. 2, you've started your fashion business, but aren't quite understanding why it's not thriving or doing as well as you'd anticipated. 3, it's also for you if your business is established, but you feel like it needs a little bit of a reboot and it needs to sort of regroup to reach its full potential in this crazy saturated market. So if any of these sound like you've plugged into the right podcast, if I do say so myself. I have a little bit of info that could assist you in your business journey. So what are these 4 ever so important questions? You need to ask yourself the why, the what, who, and how. Sounds crazy, but I'll break it down for you. The why, what, who, and how are going to help you better focus your business efforts and create a strategy to achieve your business goals from the onset and throughout. Because let's be honest, guys, in this microwave era, it's so easy to pick up a product, slap your name on it or your business's name on it, and put it out there to sell. Simple, right? While it's easy, it's not always a sustainable way to build a brand, especially if you want to see longevity and if you want to build it into something much greater than just yourself. There's a little bit of groundwork we need to sort of cover first, and I promise you it will make sure your entire business journey runs a little smoother. And yes, this is coming from someone who has tried and tested both methods, okay? So hear me out. So starting with the why, the intent. Why are you starting the business? There are so many fashion businesses today, guys. So what's compelling you to start yours? Are you filling a gap in the market? Is it just for the money you could make? There's that. Is it based on a passion and a dream you've had, your whole life? It could be a hobby or side hustle. Is it a groundbreaking new innovation that you've come up with and believe that the world needs to see it? So there's many reasons why you could do it, but the answer to this question will ultimately be your guide in the long run. Throughout your journey, it'll help center you and keep you aligned with your vision. Now, having said that, it is so important to be honest with yourself, guys. With this one, it's your life, it's your business, your baby, and ultimately your headache. So giving the perfect pageant answer isn't going to benefit you in any way. Because listen, you're only lying to yourself at the end of the day. Okay, so there are tons of reasons why you can start a fashion business. Let's be honest, some people are in it for the money. Some people believe it's a quick way to earn a big buck. Fair enough. Social media has made us believe that in some way. And yes, for it to be an actual business, profit is important. It's integral to the business for it to be a business. But for some people, the money may not be the reason why they started. Think of it this way. Once you figure out your why, down the line, when something doesn't go as well as anticipated and you may be stressed, having a mental breakdown, and on the verge of quitting because the reality of entrepreneurship is hitting you in the face, okay? You can look back and think, okay, I started this for the money, and listen, it's bringing me more stress and less checks. In that case, it's a lot easier and simpler to just quit and just find another less demanding avenue to generate that income or make that money. Whereas if you're starting this from a passion perspective, it'll have you looking over like, I'm not anywhere near where I need to be. I'm stressed. I may not like this right now, but I love what I do. I've got this, and tomorrow's a new day. Sometimes a much needed pep talk, a prayer, and a good glass of wine can get us through, okay? So think about your intent, your why. And please, I beg of you, for the people who admittedly say they're doing it for the money, aesthetic, or lifestyle it supposedly comes with, please do not be tricked into entrepreneurship by these social media facades. Not everyone is showing you the whole story. We all know social media is where we all share our victories and our ups. It's not often where we show the struggle and the sleepless nights that we've all endured. And in the same breath, don't let them guilt you into thinking you aren't anyone if you don't have your hustle. Oh my goodness, I cannot tell you how many. If you can work for someone else for 8 hours, you can work on your own business for 2 hours. Quote, I see. No, ma'am. Not everyone wants that. It's almost like they're shaming you for not having your own hustle. And that's so weird to me because entrepreneurship isn't some exclusive club where you get into it and become a millionaire upon entry. I wish, okay? It would be a lot easier for a lot of us, okay? Everyone would be an entrepreneur if that was the case. It's really not easy. It's really not for everyone. And that's okay. And there are a few people out there who actually love their day-to-day jobs and enjoy what they do. I've spoken to so many friends and family members that aren't in the entrepreneurial space, and they are so content in their day-to-day jobs and all the security and benefits that comes with that. That's a story for another episode, okay? Entrepreneurship is hard, and the social media glamour is like 10% of the job for most people. So just be 100 with yourself when asking yourself your why. If you're filling a gap in the market, you're on the right track because demand exists, they just need your product. If it's for the money you could make, no judgment, just good luck. If you're just inherently born to be an entrepreneur, you've got this, babe. Success is already yours, okay? And if it's based on passion and a dream you've always had, keep pushing. Your drive will get you there. It could be anything. So just think about your why. Next up, we have the what, the product. What are you offering your customers? If you're building a fashion business, take it further. What kind of fashion is it? Are you looking to do workout gear? You could do luxury sleepwear, you could do swim and resort wear. The beauty of fashion is that there are so many different categories to choose from. Pick one that works for you and the business that you're trying to build. And as I mentioned, there are so many fashion brands out there. So your brand can benefit from picking a slightly niche category. Sometimes people tend to think if I have a lot of different products to offer, I can reach more customers of all demographics. But more often than not, a lack of focus can be detrimental to your brand before you even begin. If you try to sell everything to everyone, you're more likely to sell nothing to anyone. Niching your offering is so important to develop your brand's presence and be the go-to brand when someone is looking for what you sell in particular. That's when you have a winning formula. I don't know about you, but when I go shopping for something in particular and there are way too many options and variations of what I want, I get super overwhelmed and just end up buying nothing or leaving empty-handed or just going into another store that I'm more likely to buy it because it specializes in that. And this is very common with the everyday consumer. An overload of options is often not the best way to go in fashion. And along the line, if it's something that you like, once you've establish yourself in the industry, you can branch out and build an empire of different products under one house, like a lot of other sort of big brands have done. But I think the best thing to do in this day and age when everyone has a fashion brand is start with a clear niche. And another thing to consider when you're establishing your product is usually the best product you can offer or develop is one that you have a want, need, or passion for. So something that is close to you and you personally, because no one would understand your pain point like you do. And this would ultimately save you in a lot of ways, making it a little more seamless to market. And just generally understanding your ideal consumer to that extent is invaluable. Businesses spend millions and billions trying to understand markets to sell to, and if you represent your own customer or are deeply knowledgeable about your target market, it can simplify the whole journey for you. You need to identify a pain point and solve it. A lot of the time, people are actually buying solutions. So if you're making my life easier or better in one way or another, I'm likely to come to you and buy from you. Think about it this way. If you have, let's say, an aunt or a gran who constantly complains about how uncomfortable regular clothes are to travel in, and just as well wouldn't be caught dead in a tracksuit in public, you can go ahead and develop a sophisticated, comfortable luxury outfit for travel purposes. It sounds too specific, right? But that's exactly what realizing a pain point looks like. I can promise you that there are many other women out there who have a very similar issue. The look you develop could be used for running errands, doing school runs, traveling. It could be used for many more tasks, but you've identified a problem and you developed the product. P.S. If any of you decide to use this idea, I want my royalties. Thanks. Okay. Another simple way to look at it is if, let's say, you're a self-care queen with a set schedule to light a candle, run a bath, and then curl up with a book and cute pajamas at least once a week. Creating a customized luxury sleepwear brand is probably more up your alley than a workout brand if you're like me and work out like once every 5 months. So think of it that way. I mean, it doesn't really have to be that specific or close to you, but it's a lot less stress and a lot more seamless for you if it's something you can relate to on some level. You can still research, which I think is always important. Don't stop researching, but you wouldn't have to go way above and beyond your means to get extensive information on the target market. And bonus tip, establish your desired positioning for your brand from the onset while you're developing your product. So decide if it's luxury, if it's premium, if it's sustainable, or if it's cheap and cheerful. The overall point of the what is to have a guide for your product category and just not be too broad with your offering. And I genuinely say this from experience, guys. I started my brand at quite a young age, and it was more so a hobby than anything. And whenever I liked, I'd design, I'd go get the fabric, I'd get it designed, I'd get it made and put out to sell. And there was no cohesion whatsoever. Sales were made, but nothing significant. Once I niched and got serious about how I wanted to position my brand and what fashion category I wanted to hold dominance in, I saw the positive results in sales and repeat customers and in attracting my ideal target audience. So think about your what. Then we move on to the who, the customer. Who are you dressing? Who is your customer? Create an in-depth customer profile to properly distinguish who they are. I know creating a customer profile is not always fun, but it is so necessary. It's game-changing, if you will. You have to figure it all out, what their age range is, profession, interests and likes, behavior, lifestyle, where do they live, how much disposable income do they have? That's an important one, guys. And what their needs are when it comes to clothing and fashion, another important one. Every successful business really understands who they're selling to and focuses on that person. Something you really want to avoid is having a target consumer that's too broad, or worse, none at all. If you try to capture everyone, as I said, you likely won't capture anyone. When I started, it was exciting. I had a whole lot of friends and family, aunts, etc. talking about, oh, I love this and I love that. But come launch day, a lot of them didn't buy. Crickets. Some of them did buy, but a lot of them didn't. And in my early days, I was low-key offended. Like, y'all are so fake. Where's the support? But when I realized my who, I realized a lot of them were actually never my target market. I couldn't expect my then 21-year-old self to fully grasp what my 45-year-old aunts and that wanted when it comes to clothing and fashion. And I certainly couldn't expect to sell to them what I was wearing at the time. So once I fully grasped that I need to speak to my target market and them only, the game changed for my business. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling some type of way because your friends and your family aren't buying from you, don't. Focus on your target market and those that will buy from you. Your family can support you in other ways, okay? And disclaimer, before I offend my peoples, I do have friends and family who have bought and some who've even become regular customers. So it doesn't go unnoticed. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. You guys keep the business going, okay? Okay, so a simple example of how you can't expect everyone to buy and how important it is to identify a target market and focus on it is you could be selling something as generic as a t-shirt, for instance, something any and everyone wears, yeah? But I can almost guarantee you that you can't speak with the same voice or the same brand voice to an 18-year-old as you could to a 45-year-old. In saying that, it could be the exact same product, but they're so different and in such different stages of their lives that different aspects would appeal to either one of them. So for instance, to an 18-year-old, you'd probably sell the trend and how you could style it with the hottest pieces in their closet, dress it up, style it casually, inspo of trending celebrities wearing it, etc. You appeal to sort of the vanity or the status or the that sort of aspect. While if you're selling to, let's say, a 40-year-old mother of two, it's a generic tee. You're more likely to touch on aspects like the quality, the durability, style, versatility. Tell them it's comfortable and still cute. So it's more so the value and the quality that they're getting. See, one item, two completely different people and two completely different voices / marketing methods. It's very different. So with that simple example, you can see how the exact same product can be sold to complete different markets, but the voices are completely different because the target audience is completely different. So it shows the importance of targeting a specific audience and speaking to them. And as I previously said, as a business, you can't speak to everyone. You'll need to pick your customer and speak only to them. So identify your target consumer and focus your efforts on them in a way that resonates with them. Then we move on to the how. How are you going to achieve your business's vision? Think about being an industry leader. How do you get to be an industry leader? There are many ways to get there, but the journey looks different for everyone. So this is where you can put together a plan and effectively look over your own skill set, resources, and of course, budget. With your how, you need to identify your skill set and how you're going to get to where you need to be. And once again, be honest with yourself. Think about your strengths and weaknesses as an individual. What you're incredible at versus what you could work on. So this will help you put in the extra effort where you need to. Being an entrepreneur, you are the head of every single department when you're starting out. So you need to know that there's a balanced working system and you need to know where your strengths and weaknesses lie so you can elevate and work on your weaknesses so everything is in equilibrium. For instance, I know I'm not the best with finances, and I hate saying that because I'm trying to do better with money, and words are powerful, okay? So let's put it this way. I used to be bad with money. Manifestation, okay? So, of course, that's a key part of business. I need to manage my finances. I need to make sure things are running well. So I made sure that was the first thing I got help in when I could. And even when I didn't have the help, I tried to learn as much as possible and implement what I've learned. So research methods that will help, read books, listen to podcasts, get a mentor, just look for resources that can assist you. And in mapping out your how, you'll also need to figure out your finances and budget. Put your numbers together. I am always asked, how much do you need to start a fashion business? And it always depends. It's very dependent on every single business. There's no set number. So realistically, how much money do you have available to start your new business? So what do your resources look like? And make sure the budget truly reflects your brand and what you're trying to represent. So naturally, if you're building a luxury brand, the costs will be a lot higher than, let's say, a ready-to-wear, lower-priced, affordable, everyday brand. So consider all these things when you're building your brand. And a big thing I always say is build within your means. And don't let societal pressures or social media make you feel like you need more than you can actually handle. If you're starting out and it's just you, don't go and get a gigantic office when you can literally use an extra bedroom in your house or your dining room, your living room, whatever it is. It's not worth it. Then in your how, you need to also figure out your resources and what you already have access to. It's so important because people tend to overlook existing resources and want to outsource costly professionals in the beginning when it's not really necessary. Do you have a sibling with an amazing camera who loves taking pictures? That's a potential resource. Have them do your photo shoots, etc. Do you have a friend who's incredible at makeup? That's another potential resource. Have them do your model's makeup or your makeup when you guys are doing shoots. And there we go. That's an example of how you can get your friends and your family to support you. There's other ways. They don't have to buy if they're not your target market, okay? Don't be afraid to work with those in your community who you already have access to. Okay, now I'm not saying get someone to do something that they aren't interested in for your benefit, or someone who's average at something hoping they'll be excellent when it comes to your business. So work with what already exists. For a long time, I would get my photographer and would have a whole studio set up in my home garage. Saved me tons on studio costs, and I got the exact same quality as studio quality images from that. I've used family members' homes, friends as models. I even shoot my own content often. A little bit of control issues, but it still saves money, okay? So it's as simple as looking around at your own resources and seeing who and what you can leverage to benefit your business. And I say this, but make sure it's mutually beneficial, okay? Let's not exploit our fellow small business owners, okay? Sometimes models want to update their portfolio. Offer them access to the images in exchange for maybe a lower rate for their services. And in that case, both parties win. So map out your how early on, figure out your resources, speak to those you can. You may not know what other people are trying to do and how they can also benefit you and how you guys can benefit each other. Now, I hope I have not overwhelmed you guys with all this information, but remember to iron these things out and ask yourself these 4 questions in the beginning of your journey. Write them down, have them on file, something that you can revert back to whenever you're feeling a little lost in your business or need some sort of direction, like I do. It helps, trust me, it really does. I always say, like many things in life, there's no blueprint to this. In launching and building a successful business, it's a constant journey of learning, implementing, analyzing, correcting, and improving. So give yourself grace on this business journey. Entrepreneurship is not easy, and just starting is something you should be proud of. So thank you, babes, for tuning into today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. So if this helped you even in the slightest, I'd appreciate you leaving a comment and letting me know what resonated with you or what else you'd like to hear from me, because I created Babe in Business to help you. So hit the subscribe button, like, and share this with someone you think might benefit from it. Until next time, we'll chat soon. Bye.